we're now at a stage where we can finally do the last bits of processing to the image and save the image. So if we just look at our info panel here at the image that we were working on originally, we can see that at the moment it's got a color space of sRGB 8 bits per channel, which is what we want for when we save it as a JPEG file. We can see the pixel dimensions are 3840 by 2160, which is the exact size needed for the 4K television. We can look at our history panel and see the different bits of work that we've done on it. The final bit of work that we did was the crop to those dimensions. So all I want to do now to this image is to apply a little bit of final sharpening to it. If you remember, we did a little bit of pre-sharpening in Adobe Camera Raw, but based on these pixel dimensions I want to apply the final bit of sharpening to it. I'd like to put a little border around the outside because this series of images are all going to fill exactly the frame or the television screen to the exact size of a 4K monitor. Okay. Then the image needs to be saved to that folder where we created in one of the original videos, and then close the image. And then I'd like to do the same treatment to all the rest of the images. So these 4 bits of work that we're going to do now, I can save in a thing what we call an action. So here's the actions panel. We can create like top level folders by going to here, and this is like a set of actions. Create a new set. Well, I've created one that I've called demos, okay, and I've positioned it at the bottom of the stack. And what I want to do now is create an action that will encompass that sharpening, putting a border around it, saving it, and closing the image. I want all of those bits of work to be saved as an action, so I can then apply that treatment, that action, to all the other images. Okay, so once we start the action, we don't want to be doing any willy-nilly work. We need to have planned out what we want to do to create the action. Okay, so I'm going to create the action now. So I'll go to making sure that demos is selected. So that's where the action is. That's the top level folder that the action will be placed into. Select that one there, create a new action. Just drag the little panel in here, and we could call it something like pictures to exe, and we'll call it full screen, because we might produce another action where we're not creating images to fill the screen. And so you can see the set, this set is in demos, so this pictures to exe action will appear in the demos folder there, and you can see there it is there, and the little red record button is now red. So whatever we do now is being recorded. So first of all, I want to sharpen the image. So I'm going to magnify the image to, let's go to 200%. There you go. Now there's only 2 methods that I'd suggest you use to sharpen an image. And if we go to filter, sharpen, you've either got unsharp mask, which is this one here, and this is it's virtually the original type of sharpening, and I still use this quite a bit. But you've got you can tell it's an old kind of sharpening effect because of the little window that you get to do the working. So the reason I've gone and magnified this main window to 200% is because you can't really assess your image from this little window here, but you can here. So if you change the amount, you can see the effect in the window here. Now don't forget, these images already had a little bit of pre-sharpening applied in Adobe Camera Raw, and we're only dealing with a 4K image, which is a lot bigger than a full HD image. So it's not as if we're producing a print where we might need a little bit more sharpening applied. So I'm going to drag the radius down to about 1.9. So for this is basically an 8 megapixel image that we're talking about. So something like that, and you can click off the preview, see what's going on there, click on the preview, and you can see the effect that you've got. I'll just cancel that because I'll just show you the other, and of course that wasn't recorded because I cancelled it. I'll just go to filter, sharpen, smart sharpen. So these are the two that I would recommend you use to sharpen an image. And this is a more modern version of the sharpening process. You get a larger window and you can assess the image better like this. I'll just concentrate on these top main controls here, and again you've got the amount, and again I'd have that round about 70, 80 something for that that number of pixels and the type of image that we're looking at, that we're working on. The radius again about 0.91, something like that, and we've got a little bit of noise reduction effect that we can apply there. Okay, you can mainly see that in these sort of areas here. If I drag that fully to the right, you can see it kind of blends it all together. So I'll leave that round about 10. You can select the type of sharpening applied. I generally have that on lens blur. Select OK, and that has been recorded in the actions panel, as it has in the history panel. If we see down here, these are all the things that we've done, and we're still recording. So I'm just going to go to full screen, and I want to apply a border around this now. So for that we need the rectangular marquee tool. Just drag right across the image. So that is, it's telling Photoshop, this is where I want the effect to be applied, whatever I'm going to do next. And we're going to put a stroke around it, a line, by going to Edit, Stroke, which is Adobe's terminology for a line. I'd like it to be white. You can see it's picked up the color in the foreground color here, but we can just select that, click in here, drag it to white. Okay, so now we've got white color. The width is 2 pixels, which is what I want, and I want it on the inside. It's pointless having it on the outside because there's been nothing there. So I want it on the inside, 2 pixels wide for a image this size. Maybe, oh, let's do it to 3 pixels. I normally have 2 pixels for a full HD image, but 3 pixels might be more appropriate for a 4K size, because the size of the stroke should be proportional to the number of pixels that you've got in your image. You could have put this to 4 pixels, which would have been the equivalent of 2 pixels with a full HD. But I'll leave it at 3 pixels. It'll be nice, very fine key line. Okay. Control D to deselect, and we can see that the stroke and the deselection has been added, and we can see it's all been added to the history as well. So all we need to do now, we've sharpened it, we've put a little bit of key line around it, I need to save it. So I'm going to go to File, Save As, and I created these folders especially for this particular demonstration. So it's photos with border, exact size with border. So that's where I want to put this image. I've already filled this folder with quite a few other images, but I want to add this one here. I'm not going to change the file name. I'm just going to leave the file name as it is because I can see what images they are through the thumbnails. So I'm going to say save. Notice that we've got the ICC profile is sRGB, which is what we want. Save. And the JPEG options, the quality, I always have that set to maximum. Okay, because we're trying to get the best quality from these pictures. Click OK. That has now been saved, and now I want to close that particular image so we can then work on the rest of them. So I'll close that image, And you can see in the actions panel, there we go, smart sharpen, stroke, save, close. I want to stop that action now, so click on the stop button, and now we can apply, and of course that image has already, it's been closed, and we're ready to process the next image. So let's just process this image here. So first of all, let's go to the crop tool. We can see this is the crop that we want, or if we haven't got it selected there, just click on our preset, our crop preset. Drag over the image, and of course this is an individual choice as to how you want it to appear. Press enter, Control 0 just to magnify it up, and now all we need to do is go to our actions panel, select the top level, the actual action that we want. These are the bits of work that action will carry out on this image. So once I press the play button here, it will run through these actions, close the image, and we're ready to start on the next one. Play. There we go. Done. This image here, we just go to the info panel. I'd already cropped that, if you remember. So there we are. We're already cropped. So all we need to do is press the play button. That image is done. Okay, crop on that one. If we look at the info panel, this is still at full size. So crop for that one. Let's magnify it up a little bit so we can see it. Happy with that. Press the play button, and there we go. And all we got to do is just go through all the rest of them, and that's processed 10 images. We then go back to Bridge, select the next set of images. We can then process them using our presets in Camera Raw, bring them into Photoshop, use our crop tool, preset crop tool, use our actions, and process the next batch of 10 images. And gradually we're filling up our folder with the images that we want for our pictures to actually show.